So not only has Boris Johnson warned that the UK is now preparing for no deal, but Lord Frost, Frosty the No Man, also reportedly telling the EU's chief negotiator Michel Barnier not to even bother coming to London on Monday. Going to bring you all the very latest on this, guys, but as ever, please remember, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you don't miss future reports, and of course do support my work by hitting that join button. Lots of exclusives on there. We did a news review yesterday and lots more to come. So please support the videos. Please support the channel by hitting that join button. Now, a UK government source quoted as saying yesterday that Lord Frost had spoken to Michel Barnier and told him not to bother coming to London on Monday for more talks. Reuters have the report. Britain's chief Brexit negotiator, Lord Frost, has told his European Union counterpart Michel Barnier not to come to London on Monday to try and break the impasse in trade talks, but the two men agreed to talk again early next week. Prime Minister Boris Johnson's office said Frost spoke to Barnier after Johnson said EU leaders had left Britain unable to continue the negotiations without a fundamental change in the EU's approach. A spokesman for Johnson said that was accordingly no basis for negotiations in London as of Monday, he said. He and Michel Barnier did agree to talk again early next week. Now, I'm going to break down the entire situation in this report, guys. But as we saw, Boris Johnson with some strong words, we're going to get onto that in a minute. But there's speculation, there is Brexiteer speculation that Boris needs to go further, and there is some scepticism still from Brexiteers, perhaps unsurprisingly given the amount of times we've been screwed over the past few years in terms of a potential sellout or back down. So we're going to go all through all of this and what's on the table. But it certainly is significant, it seems, that Lord Frost would essentially tell Barnier not to bother coming to London on Monday. It seems to me all the way through this, the mistake the EU have made is that they mistake this government for the Theresa May's lot and basically stringing us along, mucking us about, running the clock down will get the job done. That's what they were banking on. It doesn't seem to be the case. It hasn't been the case so far. The Telegraph with the full report of what the Prime Minister's spokesman has said, which is that the trade talks are over. I'll repeat that again. The trade talks are over. The EU has effectively ended them. Only come to London next week if you are prepared to discuss all issues on the basis of legal text in an accelerated way without the UK making all the moves. And we saw that disgraceful move where conclusions from the EU summit basically called for the UK to move. And that's as Emmanuel Macron, the French president, tries to keep the status quo on fisheries. It is truly bonkers. Now, let's just remind ourselves. So Boris Johnson put a statement out on his Twitter yesterday. And here's just the highlights of it. He said, "We left the EU on the January and delivered on the largest democratic mandate in the history of this country. And since then, we have been in a transition period, obeying EU law, paying our fees as a non-voting member, working on a future relationship we hope to enjoy with our friends and partners from January. And from the outset, we were totally clear we wanted nothing more complicated than a Canada-style relationship based on friendship and free trade. To judge by the latest EU summit in Brussels, that won't work for our EU partners. They want the continued ability to control our legislative freedom, our fisheries, in a way that is obviously unacceptable to an independent country." Now, Boris also sent an email out to supporters today. In that email, he said, "Since the outset of our negotiations, we were totally clear that we wanted nothing more than complicated than the relationship the EU has with Canada, one based on friendship and free trade. But for much of the last few months, the EU have refused to negotiate seriously, demanded the continued ability to control our legislative freedom and our fisheries in a way that is completely unacceptable to an independent country," which is why yesterday I decided that we should get ready for the end of the transition period on January the 1st with arrangements based on the simple principles of global free trade, like Australia's relationship. Now, David Scullion of The Critic, with an interesting tweet. So, now obviously, you know, we applaud the stance of Lord Frost and Boris gearing up for no deal. But as they say, the proof is in the pudding. This is the crunch time. And it is actions, not words, over the next few weeks and months that really matter. David Scullion of The Critic making the point that some Brexiteers are sceptical about today's yesterday's no deal announcement. And I know, reading from the comments, guys, and do keep them coming, that a lot of you are sceptical and you want to see action, which is fair enough. Government has said it's been preparing for no deal for 4 years. Government is still implementing the withdrawal agreement. Frost and Barnier are still talking next week on phone. A persistent drumbeat of suspicion, David Scullion writes in The Critic, of suspicion exists among ERG MPs about the choreographed nature of what's going on. Sure enough, David Scullion notes, like always been the case for the past 4.5 years, the UK has never walked away. So why are we so sure anything has changed? You know, as a Brexiteer myself, as someone who's fought for this for so long, you've got to retain, I think, an element of scepticism whilst giving the British government the benefit of the doubt that we are not seeing some choreographed sellout. But we've said it all the way through. Lord Frost has said all the right things. What Boris said yesterday was correct as well. Ben Habib, Brian Monteith and Jonathan Saxty in The Telegraph saying that it's time the Prime Minister believed in Brexit and embraced no deal. Even now, they say, Boris Johnson is only using no deal as a threat. It appears to be an empty one against Brussels' bad faith. They say it is high time that they ripped up the withdrawal agreement and left on WTO terms. Only then would the EU, they say, realise it is dealing with a resolute United Kingdom. More importantly, only then would the Prime Minister be able to fulfil his Brexit promises by returning full sovereignty to the United Kingdom. Nigel Farage in the Express saying, I would still put the outcome of a negotiated deal based on the EU treaty at a 75% probability. He's saying he puts the outcome of a negotiated deal still at 75%. Let me know what you think about that in the comments, guys. Nigel in the Express saying, I still believe that the most likely outcome will be a deal based on the withdrawal agreement, with both sides claiming victory and insisting that their red lines have been maintained. For that to happen, he says, the French will have to give a little on fishing, and we will have to promise to keep broadly but not directly aligned to EU state aid rules. If, as I suspect Nigel says, we do a deal on the basis of a new EU treaty, there are issues that will come back to haunt us in the years ahead. Come on, Boris, he says, let's have that clean break Brexit. And interestingly as well, former Conservative MP, a special advisor to David Davis, Stuart Jackson, The Telegraph, saying, for all the angry talk from Macron, a deal is coming down the track. He says it will be a Canadian-style deal that will come down to concessions by the UK on state aid and the dispute resolution, and by the EU on eschewing so-called dynamic alignment of rules and recognising the UK as an independent maritime nation which will, of its own volition, share its fish stocks. So that's balance of where we are, guys. As I say, we saw that statement from Boris Johnson. We're now hearing from Lord Frost that he's told Michel Barnier, don't bother coming down to London on Monday. Is this all choreography? Are we going to see a deal at the end of the day? Or is the UK going to reject the EU's hardline stance, take back full control, go no deal, go WTO? I know a lot of you in the comments overwhelmingly want us to walk away now, want us to go no deal, want to believe that Lord Frost and Boris will follow through on this. But let me know if you think they will. Let me know if you think there should be a deal or if you want to see a no deal. And as ever, guys, please help me out by clicking thumbs up on this report. Really helps me out. Remember to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss future reports. And of course, hit that join button if you want to support. Plenty of you joining. Thanks to those of you who have. Do support my work. Really helps me do, almost daily videos now to keep you guys updated. So hit that join button if you can. Would really appreciate it. And as ever, guys, thank you very much for watching.